Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the Strafe Zone. I'm Dave and this is part 5 of my playthrough. Let's get into it. So after last episode we just beat the last giant in the Forest of the Fallen Giants nonetheless, and I just made a return to Majula off camera. Did a little bit of leveling up. I leveled up, I think, strength, dex, and a couple other boring things. But yeah, now I'm making my way down to the Heide's Tower of Flame. Just gonna go ahead and pick up a shield here. And we're gonna take on a couple of bosses today. It's gonna be a really good episode. Hope you can stick through the whole thing. It's gonna be a little bit extended, but the good news is this is gonna be the last I don't know, episode where I use post-commentary, so the rest of this playthrough is all going to be live after today, which I'm really looking forward to. Plus, very shortly I'm going to be working on a Dark Souls 2 New Game Plus playthrough, and I've got my character all ready for that one, so definitely tune into that as well. That's going to be exciting, and that'll actually be blind for me, because I've not played New Game Plus yet. I've used bonfire aesthetics all over the place, as everybody has, I'm sure, but not actually done a full New Game Plus playthrough, so it's going to be good. We've got our old giants. These guys are not difficult at all. You can work out that once you get past that first hit, then you can sort of keep out of range of the second one. He'll always miss with the third hit, and you can just go to town on him. So I was careful to light the bonfire and not spawn that guy back, because, you know. This guy's probably the hardest one of all the giants, and for good reason, because from memory I think he carries a sublime bone dust, which will let us restore more health with the Estus Flask. This guy will just drain all of your stamina every time you block him. Either roll at the last minute, or just get behind him and hit him a couple of times. Once he's dead, I think he's the only one that doesn't respawn, because he drops that sublime bone dust. Now in this place, when you kill this guy here, see that little square thing behind him where I am right now? That's a little trigger that you'll need to remember, so knock him off there and sort of don't run ahead too quickly, because that happens. Hopefully I pan the camera around to what it actually does. Right. So just behind us, just over to the right, is where our next boss is, and that's where I'm headed. It starts out with the floor around the center circle of the room, all down in the ocean. When you defeat him, and also these guys in here, you have a couple of switches to raise the floor back up on and make that boss fight a lot easier. Back on Heide's Tower of Flame. I don't know. I was doing some thinking when I was playing my other character about what I think Dark Souls 2 is in terms of lore and story. Whether it is indeed like a reincarnation or a reimagining of Lordran, or whether it's, you know, somewhere else in the world where they've just come over by boat across the ocean. I think the jury's still out. There's things that contradict me every time I think I've come up with a new theory. It's my final theory, that's it, I've got it, I've figured this game out. Something else will come up and make me rethink it. This place does look eerily like Anor Londo. It's quite clear. Anybody who's played Dark Souls 1, the first thing you would think of is that this place is just the new Anor Londo. Not New Londo. An NPC that I saw in the one of the giant memories. This is way later in the game. For those of you who haven't played this by now, I would imagine that the people watching my channel have some idea of Dark Souls 2, or at least are not just watching it to get my perspective on it. I think you would have played it all by now. I should hope so. And if not, I'm going to spoil a little bit here for you, but there are memories of the giants that you can enter later in the game. And there is Captain Drummond, I believe his name was, that told me that King Vendrick, well, actually confirmed it. I knew I'd heard it somewhere, but King Vendrick went across the seas and stole something. Still don't know what it was that he stole. I haven't dug deep enough to find it. I was under the impression it was the Lord Vessel that he stole, which is what makes me think that Majula is actually Fireling's shrine, because the smashed Lord Vessel is sitting in the basement. But yeah, it's just another really interesting tidbit. It's actually a memory where King Vendrick went and pillaged something. That's why the giants came. And you know what happened when the giants invaded? They wrecked the place. These guys are quite dangerous. I think it's that third swing where he comes around to the front. You have to just dive across it. Always dive across the blade. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the Dragonrider. You can see I got sloppy. I didn't raise that second part of the floor. So don't do what Strafe Zone does, okay? Best way to go, I have also put up a video of him a while ago. It's the first video I uploaded, actually. This brings back memories. He's probably the easiest boss in the game. I don't know what people are talking about, saying the covetous demons are easiest. This guy, you can walk around behind him and never get hit. I think I might get hit here because I'm sloppy, but it's possible to just walk and block and never actually take any real damage. He's not too bad at all. He's a big softie. See that? Just dive straight over the blade. And watch your stamina. You also need to be careful and plan out what you want to do with his soul, because from memory his soul can be transformed into about 5 different things, 3 or 4 anyway. You can get his halberd, you can get his shield, you can get his twin blade, all sorts of shit. The only thing I don't think you can get is his armor. I haven't seen his armor anywhere, and it's fucking cool. Apart from that big belly thing, I love that red armor. There we are, victory achieved, and the versatile Dragonrider soul. This playthrough does have a little bit of editing though. Here I am showing the floor. Yeah, I guess it would make the fight harder if you're really not comfortable. If you're a caster or a mage or something and you want to get a little bit of room, I guess you got to make sure you don't back off the edge. But if you're a melee character, it really doesn't matter. You can fight him on a dime, as they say. You can just circle around him in the one spot and never get hit. So originally I had plans to sort of talk to Lycia over here, the shady Lycia. She is so shady, man.
Are you from
Watch
these
the
parts?
last thing she says.
My name is Lycia. I have come to spread the art of miracles, a practice of which I am a disciple. I can see that you are well suited, but the cost...
So she's got a chime to sell, if we weren't already a cleric, and as you would expect, a whole bunch of miracles. The only downside to playing a miracle caster or playing a faith build, at least early on and on your first playthrough, is that you really don't get much access to any sort of offensive spell until you've invested quite a bit of time and effort into faith. It may leave you a little bit weaker, but in the long run, the faith and miracles really complement.
Do I need
my build, really?
And sometimes I fight. It's it, and being out here. I expected this cathedral. Without any goings on, I'll have to move to a place I could go. Sorry.
To a place she could
Help the
Gulliver. Oh wait, sorry.
May
Help
the power of
gullible.
miracles be with you.
Right. I had my doubts about her as soon as I saw her say that. I didn't know how, I didn't know why, I didn't know when. But I knew she would come into our story later on. So here I am doing a couple of poses as if I was going to finish the episode and getting us all pumped up. But I got news for you. We're going into the unseen path down here to the right. I'm going to go down here and actually get a really cool armor set, and then I'm going to show you something funny, and then we're going to go carry on with the rest of the playthrough. So what you want to do is come down here, if for nothing else, just come down here for the armor set, and I'm going to show you guys where it is in here. It's the knight armor set. It's really, really, really good. Really high defense, it's not too heavy. You might want to just wear a couple of pieces of it, like at least the chest, because I think it looks really cool, the actual armor itself. Put the chest on, put the boots on. I wouldn't worry about the gloves or helm, so that you can stay below 60 or 50%. You can see these poor dudes with my Heide Knight sword, they don't even stand a chance. Not much variety in the Heide's Tower of Flame though, and that's something that annoyed me. I would have liked to have seen a couple more enemies apart from just old giants. It's very samey to New Londo with the Sentinels. There's an old knight halberd. One of those weapons on paper, better than in practice. I think it's only got 20 durability or something. It's going to break on you after 5 hits. As you can see, the most important thing is just to keep rolling. Just keep rolling. Just keep avoiding. It's that second hit. Yeah, that third hit actually. The third hit that actually got me there, but it's the second hit that you got to be worried about, guys. This guy could be our last opponent before I get my set. Perhaps not. Perhaps I'm speaking too soon. I think I got turned around and came back up here and I'm like, have I gone here before? Yeah, I have. It gets confusing. Just follow where I go. But look at me though, I'm releasing a Let's Play video on where to get the knight armor 4 weeks after the game came out. I'm sure you guys have looked up the wiki by now. But you never know, there's still maybe those people who don't know, and they still need me for help. And I welcome you. Come down here into the water. Not going to be able to roll as well in the water though, that's something. You've always got to be mindful that you're not going to be able to roll as well as you would normally. But yeah, just come up here. Now that we're done with the unseen path, I think down to the right here is where my stash of armor is. It makes you wonder who actually put this shit in this fucking chest all the way under here. Anyway, fantastic armor. I'm just going to warp out of here, and what I wanted to show you is that I did make, in all honesty, I was not going to show my deaths and stuff, but no, we'll show them. I made a run at the other boss in here. I was kind of testing some theories, of mine about combat and kind of how to do stuff, and I died. I died, I think, a couple of times. One of them's quite humorous, and I'm going to show it to you before we move on to the next area. And here I am just putting on the knight armor. You can see it's not quite, the boots are not quite an upgrade over the falconer boots, but in terms of fashion they are, which is equally as important as defenses. So I'm just going to homeward bone it out of here. Alright, so this is where the second boss is, up here. Here we are, praising the cathedral. This is somewhere I'm going to be coming very soon to exact my vengeance. I'm not really sure what I was doing in this fight. The mechanics of the old Dragon Slayer, who you're going to recognise as Ornstein. Yeah. So that happened. That totally happened. And now we are here at the Forest of the Fallen Giants, where we should have been coming. Alright. A lot of summon signs on the ground. Our next target is going to be the Pursuer boss. First off, I'm just going to clear out a few enemies here and make our way to the Pursuer. Pursuer can be dangerous. He is one of my favourite bosses simply because his armour and his sword and his shield are so cool. Plus he's a floating knight with a red Cyclops eye. You really can't get any cooler than that. He does inflict curse, is another big one. He inflicts curse in a couple of ways. He has a really, really obvious sword attack with a blue sword that he can use to inflict curse on you, which if you're going for a no-death playthrough, which I can't see me ever completing. I would really love to, but I can't see me ever doing it. I think there's a trophy for it. He's going to inflict a curse on you, which I think will, even if it doesn't kill you, cursing you turns you into a hollow, which I want to say that that's going to disqualify you from a no-death playthrough. But he has a few obvious attacks that you can roll away from. I know that he is very difficult when you first play this. And I keep coming back to that sentence, when you first do this versus when you've got some experience, because if you're watching these videos and you've never played Dark Souls before, I really encourage you to pick up the game. It's intimidating at first, I'm not going to lie, it's difficult, but it requires an investment of time and it requires an investment of concentration. Something it's going to really reward you with a really rich and varied and deep gameplay experience. A lot of cool gameplay mechanics, a lot of cool enemies and areas, and just something that's never been done before, or I don't think it's going to be done since in a game. There's innovative online play, there's summoning, there's invading. It's just stuff you're never going to find anywhere else. And when you do play this, and you do play the Pursuer, or you do fight the Pursuer, he is difficult. I did die my fair share, like everybody would have. But there are strategies that once you know the strategy, once you have figured it out, he does become quite a bit easier. Hopefully I can show you a really decent strategy in this video. You can see me here getting turned around, getting confused. But no, we're back on the path. I considered summoning somebody. I can't believe I even considered summoning somebody for the Pursuer. Maybe because I wanted to get it over quicker, but always try and summon the computer phantoms when you see them, because normally there's some sort of story behind them. But summoning a couple of people here can make this really easy if you're having a lot of trouble, but it can make it too easy. And I guess there's nothing more disappointing than dying 20 times to the one boss and then giving up and summoning a phantom and thinking, you know, I really could have done that myself. You'll never have that again. You'll never have that experience again of being able to do it yourself. But enough talk, this is the Pursuer. How cool is this guy? That's what you got to look for. That telegraph where he raises his shield and moves away, or he moves towards you. That's your signal to move forward and to the right. Diagonally up and right every time when he gets right on top of you. This is it. And there it is. It'll allow you to get 1 or 2 shots in. I guess 1 if you're using a big weapon, 2 if you're using a smaller weapon and feel a bit adventurous. If you're good enough at rolling his 3rd attack of his combo, you'll be able to get another hit in there as well. But this guy's just really not that hard, guys. He does inflict really big damage, and if he gets you in that combo, it's probably going to be game over. And that's the curse attack right there. If he hits you or pick you up with that sword and curse you, he'll take off a considerable amount of damage, probably one-shot you. Unless you're at full health. One thing you can do with his soul is you can get his sword and his shield. One thing I was thinking when I was battling him is that what would have been cool for some variety is that if he comes back in different forms, well not in different forms, but he makes a return appearance I think 2 or 3 more times. It would have been so awesome if he uses different weapons. See how he's got that backpack of weapons with like an axe and a few arrows and whatnot? If he was to pull some of those things out just for some variety, maybe use arrows against you or something, that would be something. So as you may or may not have figured out, I'm just waiting for him to do that shield charge. That is the easiest damage you're ever going to get. Don't let him hit you with the shield when he does that bash though, because he's going to drain all your stamina. And he's just going to bend you over and make you spread them. Hooah! Pursuer, Ring of Blades. Ring of Blades is something I wanted. It's going to increase my damage output. I think it's the equivalent of upgrading your weapon 2 or 3 times. Don't quote me on that. I might be making it up. I don't think I am. Increases physical attack. A really, really, really cool item. And that tree there is one of the places where we're going to be able to actually go inside of the tree into the memories of the giants later on in the game. Much later in the game. Don't forget to come down here and get this armor. This is really cool early game armor. It's one of the best armor sets in the game, in my opinion, like overall, just in terms of weight and defense. It looks a bit goofy. I don't know, it kind of makes you look like you've been drinking the beer your whole life. It kind of makes you look like you got a fat ass, but it's good stuff, really good stuff. The Drangleic armor. It's the stuff worn by, I think they're King Vendrick's soldiers back in the war with the giants. And that area where we were fighting the Pursuer is something that's really important later in the game. We'll actually return here inside of a memory, which is another really awesome thing that they did with this game. I'm just making a return back up here. The bonfire that I'm going to go to, we're going to have to take a little bit of a ride from an unexpected source. Up here is a crow's nest that I'm going to make my way to. Now at first I totally tried to drop an item in here in my first go through. As retarded as that sounds, I tried to put a fucking item in there, and then next thing I know this crow comes and just swoops down and takes me, and I thought, oh god, where am I going? Trying to see if we can see Majula from here. I don't think you can. I'm not sure if that is Majula or if it's just the rest of the level. This is an awesome cinematic. That's right, we've made it to the Lost Bastille, the back way. That's going to do it for me, though, from this episode. It's a pretty good one. It was a long one, and thank you for staying with it. I'm going to be back with part 6 very soon. It's going to be live commentary. I'm really excited. And as I said, I'm going to be doing a New Game Plus playthrough, and I hope you guys can check it out. Stay tuned for more from Strafe Zone, and like and subscribe. Later, guys.